Morning, great to see you. Welcome. This is my second effort. I am very sorry that it didn't work the first time. I'm sorry that the sound was all a mess. I'll try again. Thank you for bearing with us. I know that I have to say happy birthday to Zoe Barnsley and Willow. Happy birthday. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have the most fantastic birthday, even though the party may be smaller than usual. I bet there's still an amazing cake. Let me tell you that in my pocket, I have something that is taller than a house, is stronger than a wall, cannot be knocked down by the greatest wind or the largest bulldozer, and it can hold up more than 10 families. What do you think I've got in my pocket? Shall I show you? I have an acorn. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can an acorn do all of that? Well, this acorn can't. In 5 years, it can't. But in 100 years, this acorn will be bigger than my house. This acorn will be able to let my whole family climb in it. In 300 years, your whole church could shelter under its branches. In 300 years, it would be the most beautiful, largest tree in any park. You could make anything you like. Chairs, tables, all from its huge trunk. You see, time is all that is needed for something that is tiny, fragile, and easily lost to become something mighty. Now, Jesus told a story about what is once small that becomes massive. Now, in Jesus' day, he didn't use the example of an acorn. He said it would be like a mustard seed. Now, a mustard seed is the absolutely smallest thing they knew about. Just like we now know about atoms and molecules, they knew about mustard seeds. It was a seed so small it would get lost between your fingers. It's very hard to plant a mustard seed because you can barely see it. Jesus explained how a mustard seed would one day grow. Are you ready to hear the story? Let's look at it together, okay? Then Jesus said, "How can I show you what the kingdom of God is like? What story can I use to explain it?" The kingdom of God is like a mustard seed. I've used a picture of an acorn because we know what that is about. The mustard seed is the smallest seed you plant in the ground. Do you see him planting his seed? But when you plant this seed, it grows. Can you see that little seedling? Fragile and small, but it is growing. And it grows. Can you see the oak leaves? And becomes the largest of all garden plants. Now it is a little tree. It produces large branches. Even the wild birds can make nests in it and be protected from the sun. Do you see? What was once a seed, Jesus said, is now a place where birds can nest in it, or nerds can best in it. Do you see that a family can shelter from the sun? Do you see that children can play in it and climb in it and put swings in it? Do you know, if you were an alien and you had seen a little seed, you would not have believed that just time is all that is needed for it to become this. Jesus used many stories like these to teach them. He taught them all that they could understand. He always used stories to teach them. But when he and his followers were alone together, Jesus explained everything to them. Jesus taught that something so tiny, could one day be big enough for families to shelter in. It is strange to think that even when Jesus was on earth, he didn't have a big crowd following him. It's amazing to think that they say when Jesus died, he probably had about 120 people who followed him. Even when Jesus was speaking, even when Jesus was doing miracles, the number who actually followed him with their whole lives was still very small. Jesus told this story so his friends then would understand. It's all right. The plan hasn't gone wrong. So today he says the same to us. Does your church feel like an acorn? Very small and tiny. Does your church feel like a seedling? Fragile, precious, swayed by every wind? Or does your church feel like a growing tree? Jesus says, please know that one day when we arrive in heaven and see what his church has become, it will be huge. It will be magnificent. The number of people there will be too big to count. I wonder if there's been a time when someone has walked into your church who you hadn't seen before. Have you ever seen that? Someone new, maybe someone of your age. Maybe they weren't Christians. They weren't trusting Jesus. Do they now come every week? Do they now trust Jesus? I hope you've had one person in your church who didn't used to be there but is there now. Jesus says that is happening all over the world. There are millions of Christians in the world today, and he says in heaven there'll be a number so big your mouth will drop open when you see them all. I'm going to leave you some questions now to talk about. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for coming back to watch this. I hope it's just as encouraging second time round. 2 Did You Spot It questions. What did Jesus say that his family is like? What did he say it starts as, and what did he say it ends as? A work it out question to make you think. At the moment, when you look at God's family, the church, which does it feel closer to? A seed or a tree? You can be honest. Which does it feel closer to? A tiny seed or a vast tree? Or where in between would you put it? Maybe make a range in your kitchen and stand where you think it is. And a question to live. Do you know someone who has joined God's family, making it bigger? If you know someone, please thank God that he is growing your church. And if you don't know someone, will you pray that after lockdown, someone would come to your church to grow the kingdom? That's all from me. If you need to look at our Sunday resources, the second week is now available to download. It's on our website, faithinkids.org. There is a video to watch, some activities to do. Maybe the children can plan them. I'll leave you now to these questions and to pray together. God bless you all.